All right, we're going to go live, Tanitra. We're live. We're going to go live over on Instagram now.
All right.
That live button. Greetings, everyone. We are live over on Instagram and we are live over on Facebook and LinkedIn. We are happy to have you here today for this coaching conversation. We've got my good friend and coach here, Coach Dr. Tanitra Scorza. She's over on the West Coast in Southern California coming to us today. I am outside today. So if you hear the birds chirping, I'm over in some good friends' backyard. They are over there gardening, and I wanted to take a pause and get on this call because this is what life is able to be for us, that we can come to you from anywhere because we're virtual. So Dr. Tanitra, I just love your name. Tanitra is beautiful. And so my first question up for you is, what are you? Did you freeze
Can
on
you
me? You
repeat
did.
your question? Yeah, yeah. You said,
I wanted to know, what type of doctor are you?
oh, yes, yes, yes. So my doctorate is in performance and pedagogy, music performance. So I went to school for clarinet performance and studied pedagogy, which is
Mm,
it's the
say
study
more.
of education. Yeah. So I went to UCLA. I went and you can see if you can distinguish through the blur. I have a UCLA flag behind me. But I went there for my bachelor's degree, went for my master's, I went for my doctorate. And throughout the whole time, it was always performance, obviously, was a big thing, but pedagogy and the study of education has always been a very important thing for me. So that was
I love it.
always part of the plan. Yeah.
I love that. So that sounds to me like you have a beautiful mind, darling.
Yeah, I'm very creative. I love being creative, but I'm also very strategic. And I think a lot of musicians, especially if you're classically trained, there's a structure to how that you approach things because you have to break things down into very small pieces, things that are very, very complicated, and bring it back together into something beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely something that I carry with me forward.
Oh wow, that sounds so sexy. Oh my goodness, man, I love. You said you break it down. Why not break it down? Break it down. I love it. I love it. So my next question is, so how do you show up in the world?
That's a great question. How do I show up in the world? Like, how am I perceived, or how do I want to show up, or
It could be want to, but hopefully this is how you do show up.
huh? That's a great question. I think how I show up in the world is I'm very optimistic. I think I show up as very optimistic, but also um, very much like I love big visions and I love dreams, but then I also love, like, okay, how are we gonna what's next? Like, how do we actually get there? What are the steps that need to happen?
Mm,
So going back to that idea of taking complicated things and breaking it down to simpler things,
mm-hmm.
I love doing that with people. We all carry this genius with us, and I love connecting with people and helping them bring their genius into something that's tangible that can actually, produce what it is that they envision.
I love that. I love that because then that sounds almost like it gets down to the truest state. You and I are currently we're taking this PQ intelligence course, and he talks about bringing things down to the simplest root. That's what that makes me think of. Is there a correlation there?
I think so. And what I love about positive intelligence and what we're learning right now is that, um, to me, it is like it. We are learning about the roots. Like, okay, this is, and um, not necessarily getting down to the. I don't know if I'm thinking about the why, like, oh, why are you this way, or why does this? It's not like the origin of,
Right.
all that came to be, but it's like, okay, this is where this is coming from, and this is what to do with it, so that
Absolutely.
we're not just kind of sitting there in that space of, um, not doing something with it.
Absolutely. I love it. How's it going for you in the program? Since we brought it up.
Yeah, it's really great. I love it because, and I was thinking about this earlier today. If I could have taken, like, studied the psychology of Tanitra just for the sake of learning about, you know, why things tick, why I tick the way I tick, I would have. Like, I love psychology in that way,
Mm-hmm.
and learning about human behavior in this way through the positive intelligence approach is really, really fascinating.
Yeah.
And what's exciting
Isn't
about it
it?
is that after I'm, yeah, it's really interesting. And then after I'm done learning about myself and, strengthening the things that are help me be more productive and more humanistic and all of these things, then I get to apply that to my work, which is super exciting.
Isn't it? I love it too. To be able to serve at this level and understand how to be in sage more so than in saboteur state is amazing. I've done some similar work like this a couple of years ago, so I feel like I'm pretty even keeled and ahead of the curve on it. But it's always to have, like you said, something that helps you break it down and then be able to share it with someone else and be so impactful. I am just super excited about what's to come
Hmm.
with this. And for just for the audience sake, we're in a program. It was a grant offered just to coaches, and it's called. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I like the I'm a thing about it. Who said was it? I'm not that technical in regards to that. The grant is offered to coaches, and we have to form pods, anywhere from 3 to 5 of us in a pod, and us being coaches that have recently been together for over a year. We kind of love each other, and we formed 4 pods, so there's 20 of us within. We are helping each other be accountable. We're going through it together, and what it is really showing us is about the judges, or the thing that's going on with our mind when we're either not so kind to ourselves. The main character is considered the judge, and the judge has 9 accomplices. So and we call them saboteurs. They're there to protect you. However, at some point they're no longer protecting you because it formed in your childhood, and then um, it's still sticking around. And so we've got really big things to do in the world, and sometimes it can impede our progress. So there are 5 sages, which is, I think, the right side of the brain that we want to be in to help us counter the saboteur, which there are 10 of those. So I liken that to how the light is so strong that it will even counter that, the fact that it's double the amount of saboteurs, kind of thing.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts about that so far? What I said, was there anything to clarify on that, or any thoughts around it for you?
Um, I think you summarized it pretty well. Yeah, the idea is that, after, and what's really cool about this is that all of this work is backed by neuroscience, and so they can actually see on your scans after 8 weeks of really strengthening the sage muscles and your self control, they can actually see your brain matter changing, so that
Mm.
that muscle, because we always say the brain is a muscle, so you can actually strengthen different parts of the parts of your brain by doing certain work. So most of us have done a lot of work strengthening the judge, and this is teaching us how to do the work to strengthen the sage, which is more exploratory. It's more, instead of judgmental, it's what is the other side of it? Discernment. It's more about
Discernment.
having discernment, instead of judgment. Yeah.
Mhm. And I don't remember, I don't know why I don't remember I'm trying to, well, I'm working on, memorizing the sages. I kinda got the judges down, but I don't have the sages down. I think they're opportunities, gifts, explore, navigate.
Yeah.
Am I on the
So
right track?
how I think, the what I'm gathering from the sage, and
Mhm.
I hope this is that it's a process. So it's levels. So level one is explore, and then level
Mhm.
two, and then I feel like I have like two levels, and then I forget the last.
Mhm.
So it sounds like maybe you have the last three, and I
I
remember
think
the
in
first two.
gifts and opportunities, I know for sure. He leverages that a lot. It's
Yes,
Shirzad Charmaine. I think I hopefully I'm
yes,
doing his name justice. Is the author of the book Positive Intelligence
intelligence. Hmm.
as well. And we just use the acronyms PQ is what it stands for, Positive Intelligence Quotient. And yes, so it's super exciting. It's just something going on with us. Apologize, didn't want to derail y'all or confuse y'all. We'll get back to regular programming now. So Tanitra, let's we're talking about whoops, new beginnings, next steps, and leveling up in your business. What would you like to tell us about new beginnings, next steps, and leveling up in your business?
First of all, I love new beginnings. And of course, this is the season of new beginnings because it is graduation time. So, people are graduating from high school and from college. And with that, of course, new beginnings. It's the springtime. We have new things sprouting up. So, it is the season of new beginnings, just universally, but also, at any point in your business, it can be a season for a new beginning. Maybe
Mm,
you have a new offer, you're going a new direction, you're a new job. There's always new beginnings, and you said the PQ stuff is kind of off on the side, but it's really relevant because if you have the the mindset to be ready to explore new things and have discernment about what you're noticing, then that can have a really positive impact on your outcomes, and they won't feel as paralyzing. It may not necessarily not feel as scary, but it
right.
won't have to be paralyzing.
Now, is there a specific client that you are called to serve?
Yes, the specific client I'm called to serve, I really love working with folks who are working to support and uplift and empower their community. And I love working with folks who are doing good work in the world. And if I can enable
Mhm.
them to do that better or more efficiently or more effectively, or do that in a way that doesn't drain them, so that they can continue on doing the good work, then that is super exciting for me.
And what drives you? Why do you want to work with this type of client?
Um, the work is needed. I'm a very empathetic and compassionate person, and it's important to me to make a positive impact. And there's so much that's needed, and there's so much that people are doing,
Mm-hmm.
um, if I can be a part of the solution and a part of the change, then that's where I want to be.
I love that. I love that. We are definitely working on being a part of the change. That makes me feel about like you know, be who the change you want to see in the world, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I love that.
Yep.
Um, can you share a time when you took a new step in your business that felt scary but ultimately paid off?
Yeah. So yeah, the one that comes to mind is I guess going into business and going out of business and then going back into business. So years ago,
Mm.
I had a music school, and I think when I went into that business, I was just bright eyed, bushy tailed. I was, jump both feet in. It's going to work out. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
And it did. It did work out. It was great. And there were a lot of things I would have done differently had I known differently. Um,
Hmm.
and so that
Hmm.
experience, it kind of scared me out of business, scared me out of doing business. And I wasn't in business after that for 5 years. I went to the classroom and I learned a lot, was still making a positive impact in the world, and still felt really good about that. And then I realized I
Hmm.
I wanted to do something different. I wanted, like, I'm a business owner, like, to my core. That's what I
Hmm.
wanted to do. So, um, that was a scary realization, but then at the same time, I made my exit plan, and I think that's really important in these transitionary times. Is everything doesn't have to change overnight. Just start making your plans. Just start making your
Hmm.
exit plan. Get things lined up. Get the knowledge and the skills that you need to get. I'm definitely not afraid of learning. I'm always learning something new.
Right.
Um, so yeah.
That's fantastic. So you decided you were going to pivot, and that's how business is, I think, too. You're not necessarily always married to something because it's iterative. There's
Hmm.
layers and different dynamics to it, and sometimes it's not a one size fits all type of deal. It's like it morphs into other things. So I'm glad that you got that realization and you're back in this space. So how did coaching fall in line with that?
Yeah. So I coaching is an industry that I think it's probably been called different things in the past. And because for a long time I thought whenever I heard coaching, I was like, oh, a sports coach, got it. But
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize for a long time that no, you can coach people in all of these different areas of their life and their business and their work, and like it's a whole thing. So I always,
Yeah, me too.
mentorship was what I heard of. I was like, oh yeah, you mentor people, that makes sense. And I really enjoy that
Hmm.
dynamic of guiding people along their path and helping them gain insights into different things and to take different
Yeah.
actions and to hold them accountable. So that was always there for me, whether I was doing it like in a teaching space or in a business space or in a friend space. So that's always been a part of something that I'm compelled to do. Um, and I came across um, the more recent certification that I received with Hello Seven. I came across Rachel Rogers. I was listening to somebody's podcast somewhere, and she was on it, and I was like, "Who is this dynamics person?" And so then
Yeah.
I got deeper and deeper into the Hello Seven ecosystem, and um, and they started talking about coaching certification. I was like, "Oh."
Hmm,
Yes,
I know.
this is that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
And there were like over 100 of us. To me,
yeah.
that was so fascinating. 100 givers.
Yes.
It was like on steroids. It's like, wait a minute, there are other people like me out there? Like, what?
Yes, and then when you
That,
start learning about all the folks who are in it, the attorneys, the doctors, and this kind of doctor and that kind of doctor, and the
yeah,
real estate. It's just like we we are some amazing people up in this space. Yes.
that's right. I like the word badasses. Yes, we are bad. I'm just saying.
Just
I'm
saying.
just saying. So I'm just saying. You know that I am known as the disrupt her coach, and I would love to know what have you had to disrupt?
Hmm. The thing that I am often definitely moved to disrupt is when someone is being mistreated, when someone
Mm,
is being, you know, when
mm-hmm.
people are ganging up on someone, or, just when there's mistreatment like that, yeah, that has to be disrupted.
Well, me and you were near together, girl, because I am the dog you'd want in a fight. I don't. I hate bullying and mistreating and all of that, and I will give you what you came for.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
is who I am. If you want to ruffle my feathers, woo, that you gonna get what you came for. Let me tell you, in more ways than one. The way Miss Ivy told us to get what we came for. I'm
That's
getting what
right.
yeah. Let me
I mean, getting it.
let me ask you, what are some of the most common mindset barriers that you see in business owners and entrepreneurs?
Mm, yeah. Um, a common one is related to time.
Mm.
A time victim, being a victim to time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it's in the book, The Big Leap. I think he talks about,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe it's another. I don't know. I've read so many books. It might be a different book, but he taught. There's this concept of Einstein time, like we create time. But he was telling a story about, if your child walked in and they wanted you to toss the baseball, and you're like, no, I'm too busy. I can't do that right now. I don't have the
Mm-hmm.
time. But if they come in and there's a nail sticking out of their leg, suddenly you have the time to take them to the doctor. So it's not a matter of you not having the time. It's a matter of, I don't want to do that right now. I want to do something else. And that's okay. But you're not a victim to, I can't. Time isn't allowing me to do it. So I think that's a big one. But deeper than that, going a little bit further back than that, it's like, okay, well, how do we make the time for the things and prioritize the things that are going, and identify the things that are going to make the difference, instead of,
Right.
doing all of these extra things that are just not necessary to move the needle forward.
Mm-hmm. 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 I love that. I don't know if that's the big leap. I think I listened or read that one, and I don't remember that particular conversation, but that is very enlightening and eye opening because I know this past year I found myself from a time perspective just taking whatever had a deadline, like, and to show up and be present in that way because it felt like there was so much going on. It was the only way to decide. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's like this right here needs my time right now. This is what I'm going to focus on. And everything else kind of just fell by the wayside. Um,
Mm-hmm.
kind of deal. How So how do you help the clients that seem to have a time issue
Getting
in
clear on
this?
the vision is super important. So, what do you want?
Mm,
What backwards mapping from there, from what you want, what do you need to do to get there? Okay.
mm-hmm.
Which of these things are going to move the needle towards getting you there? And getting really clear and really focused on that. And
Mm-hmm.
delegating the things that you don't need. Like, okay, this is not going to help move the needle. There are many qualified people, persons, or apps, or, you know, someone else or something else can handle this.
Right.
Getting clear on those things. Sometimes we like to hold on to things just because I can do it, so I should do it. No, you don't have to do it just because you can. Great job, you can do it, but do you really have to do it? Can that
Mm-hmm.
be delegated?
And I liken that too, because if you don't give yourself the freedom in your business to delegate, then you're just creating another job for yourself.
Yes. And there's
Yeah.
funny little memes about that. Like I quit my 9 to 5 to work for myself, and now I work, you know, 100 hours a week.
Yeah, exactly. I bet that's an
Yeah,
eye opener for some.
yeah.
Absolutely. What are some other challenges that you see? You're a mindset and money coach as well as a business coach. What about the money aspect? Can you share?
Yeah, the money aspect is really interesting because money is so complicated sometimes and so simple other times. So, you know, getting down to the root of being worthy, like I'm
Mm,
worthy to have money, I'm worthy to, you know, things can come and they can go and it's okay. And not letting it be so tied to your emotional well being.
mm,
Um, and not letting how you feel about money block your blessings and,
abs-
block what's trying to get to you. Um, yeah, yeah. But we've been told
right. Right.
lots of stories about money, how it doesn't grow on trees, and how, you have to work so hard for it, and it's not that no, you don't have to work hard for it, but you don't have to work yourself to death. Like,
Right. Ooh,
you know,
that part. Ooh, that's good. That's really good. Uh, what practical steps can people take to improve their money mindset today?
I would say there's a couple of really great books out there. One that I really like is, well, okay, there's a couple. So one is Prosperity Now, and I forgot the author's name. That's a great book. Um, Another one that I really like is by Jen Cisneros,
Oh,
called "You're a Badass at Making Money,"
right.
um, or "You're a bad something about, I think it's "Badass with Money," something like that. That's a really great book.
That
So
was
with
it.
that,
Mm-hmm.
are you familiar with that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's it.
that
That's it. You're a badass at making.
Yes. So what I usually do with books is I listen to them because I'm on the road a lot, getting from here to there. So I listen to
Mm-hmm.
books, and then um, if I'm like a book like You're a Badass at Making Money, after I've listened to it, then I get the physical copy because there's a lot of activities in there around visualizing around money, creating mantras, unwriting your money stories, rewriting your money stories.
Wow.
So that is a big recommendation I have. Both of those books, Prosperity Now and that one, um, there is a lot of visualization exercises that go into it, like practical, okay, write this
Mhm.
out, about it, think through it, journal about it. Those things are really important.
I love that. I do the exact same thing. I listen to it on audio first, and then that determines whether or not I'll buy the physical book. I love,
Hmm.
love. I got way too many books in my library right now. I need to be on Pony Smith.
Exactly. I I have a bunch of books. So there's two little hacks with that too, because there's only so many Audible credits. Okay. Um, Hoopla is an app, and also Libby is an app. And get your library card. And there's a lot of books on Libby and Hoopla that you can listen to through your public library. And
Absolutely.
then for the ones that aren't there, there's Audible and things like that. But yes, definitely don't let I don't have time to read. We can listen. There's
Yeah,
lots of times we have to listen.
absolutely. And especially that's something that I one of my favorite things to do is to learn something new each day. I have a manifestation journal that I do each morning, and it asks me what do I want to feel like, and what intention do I want to set for the day, and
Mm,
and I always want to learn something new. So
mm-hmm,
I love those are some really 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 good tips. I am a total Libby fan. I go there first before I go to Audible because if I can get it
mm-hmm.
on Libby and I don't have to pay for it, and then if I want it on physical, then I can buy it on physical. So yeah, I love that. That was a very good tip. So get
Thank
your
you.
library card. Dr. Tanitra said get it here. Well, let's going over to the personal side, if you don't mind me asking. But doing that, what's one non-business related hobby or passion that keeps you energized and inspired?
Hey, so okay. Um, Before we started recording, I showed you my little paint by numbers. It's not little, it's actually quite large. It's like
Yeah,
it's pretty
it
big.
is.
I have three of them, and so I'm almost done with this one. I love it. I feel like it's very like calming, and I just get sucked in by the numbers. I um I asked a friend of mine was like, "Oh, I'm bored. What should I do?" I was like, "Oh, you should do paint by numbers." She's like, "Absolutely not. I would hate that." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Oops, oops, oopsie.
I was like, "What about a puzzle?" She's like, "No, I can't do that either." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So if you like puzzles, if you like paint by, color by, I find it very very fun. Other than that, I like baking.
Mm,
Um, yes, I like baking. That's kind of something I've done for a very long time. I'm not like a pastry chef, but I
right.
like.
I love it. That's all that matters, as long as you like it. It wouldn't be me. Let me just say that. I I think any form of cooking takes longer than I like. So I know how to do it well because my grandma raised me, but yeah, it's not in my lane. Now, when you talk about the painting and the puzzles, I love that. Even when we travel on vacation, we'll get a puzzle. Walmart has some really cool 1,000 piece puzzles, 1,500 piece puzzles, and you can find black art and things. So I really love that. So we'll do a puzzle, and then sometimes we'll leave it behind, or we'll turn it into like frame it or whatever, depending on how the photo looks. So yeah, I enjoy a good puzzle. But you lost me on the cooking, man. But I would love to
Baking,
eat your.
not
I
cooking.
would love to eat your baking food. So what's your favorite dish that you like to bake?
Oh, I like baking cookies. Yeah. I love
Mm.
baking cookies. I love fresh baked cookies. Yeah.
Is there a favorite that you lean towards on the fresh baked cookie?
Yeah, it's the oatmeal, either oatmeal raisin or oatmeal chocolate chip.
Yes, winning. I am, believe it or not, I am not a chocolate chip or chocolate person. I
Oh.
it's too much for me. But oatmeal
Mm.
raisin, I'm about that life. So call me up when you make your next batch. I'll come by.
Okay. I like to spice it up. I like to spice it up.
Let me see. So we were talking a little bit about books. I love to always find out what my coaches are reading and tips that they want to share. You gave us two good ones on priority now, and you're a badass at making money. How about is there a podcast or anything that has significantly had an impact on your journey, and that's in life in general, or could be the coaching, the mindset, the money, anything else?
Yeah. Um, podcasts, listening to audiobooks has kind of taken the place of me listening to podcasts
Mhm.
recently. Um, Although listening to podcasts are super, well, obviously we're doing one, but it's really great to also get leads on, oh, let me go look up this person or let me go look up this book. Like I'm always listening for, I'm a
Mhm.
sucker for a good book list. Um,
Mhm.
and so, um, but a book that has been very impactful, of course, We Should All Be Millionaires. That was very impactful. And it was so impactful, in fact, that I was like, I've always thought this way. And then I was like, girl, no, you haven't. You thought that way recently. But but what was great about it is that, and I think the reason why I felt like I always thought that way is because when I was very little, I thought that way. Like I would be
Mm.
sitting in church and I would think about how I wanted to be able to give money away. Like I wanted
Yes.
enough money that I could just give money to whoever needed it and I wouldn't worry about it. And, it was kind of like a little girl's pipe dream. But then when I read that book, I was like, oh, wait, there is actually a path to having that type of wealth and having that type of generosity. So,
Yes.
so I think it just kind of reawakened something that I kind of wrote off a long time ago.
Yay to the reawakening. Yes. Yes. She was always in there. I love that. I love that. Yeah, I felt the same way too. Like, yeah, we should be millionaires. Because once you're making six figures, once I was making six figures, I realized fast buying a home and all the other things and raising a kid. Yeah, I need more than six figures to
Right, right,
have impact in the world for sure.
right. Yeah,
Let
yeah.
me ask you, and I think I want to ask you this question again, but you may have answered it, but I just want to double check if there is anything else out there. It's have you overcome a significant business setback, and how did you bounce back?
Yes, I have actually. The
Mm-hmm.
bounce back was not quick. Let me tell you, the bounce back was not quick the first time because my mindset was such that the judge had a
Mm.
for a good quarter.
Mm.
For a good quarter.
Yeah.
And when the bounce back after, 3 months of languishing was that I was just done. Like I was done not treating like done beating myself up about it, done feeling bad about it, done
Mhm.
like, you know, I I deserve to go on walks in the afternoon. I deserve to eat well. I deserve to drink water. Like enough's
Yeah.
enough. So that was
Mhm.
that was the bounce back for me, was just like a flip switch and I was like, okay, enough of that. Enough of that.
Mhm. Right.
So um and then I realized, you know, the opportunity in that was that there are certain things I needed to put into place anyways. Like I should have these things in place.
Mm.
I I needed to feel what it felt like to have a setback and to have a comeback. And
Mm.
so, that was the opportunity in what I experienced. The opportunity was to be able to speak to that experience in a way and
Mhm.
relate to more people because people experience this all the time.
Absolutely.
And to also like learn to not beat myself up over things. Things happen, you learn from it, you grow from it, and then next.
Next. Next. I read somewhere they what does it say? It says witness it, allow it, release it. This was
Mm.
like you did, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
not to mention they say, I don't know who they is, but this is what I heard on the street, that a setback is a setup for a comeback.
Yes. Yes.
Looks like you did that thing, girl. Love
Thank
that.
you. Yeah.
All right, here's another one. What is one piece of advice you would give to your younger self at the start of your career?
Oh. Network, honey. Get out there and meet people.
Mm.
They
Yeah.
won't bite. It's okay. Go say hello.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like it. I'm taking notes, by the way, because everyone could use some good advice. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. That's a good network. Get out there and meet people. Were you shy?
I was afraid. I don't know that it was shy. Like
Mm,
I so shy to me is that if somebody's talking to you, you still don't feel comfortable talking, like responding to them. That's
mm,
kind of what I envision as shy. And that wasn't
mhm,
me. It was once somebody started talking to me, I could talk, like I could have a lot
mhm,
to say.
mhm.
But initiating conversation was very much not what I wanted to do. um, so, and then I was like, oh, it's not authentic to like,
Mm.
talking to strangers. You don't even know them. It's like, well, no, that's why you talk to them so that you get to know them. So yes, I definitely had a little bit of a backwards idea around it. It just wasn't a very productive view of how you connect with humans in the world.
Well, my friends talk about me. I have not. There isn't a human that I'm not afraid of humans. They think I believe all people are my friends. Well,
Oh,
I think they're friends. I just haven't met yet. That's all.
oh, I love that.
I I I love people. I love connecting with people. I'm interested in people. I like knowing how they think. It's just fun because
Mm.
people watching is the best thing ever. Let's do interesting things. That's how I
Yeah,
see it.
yeah.
I I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, and
Thank you too.
I would love to tell folks where they can find you.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Crystal Clarity Coach.
Yeah.
Um, all of those words are spelled normally. There's not like K's or anything in there.
Right.
Crystal Clarity Coach on Instagram. Um, you can also find me at my website, equitablebreakthroughsolutions.com.
Awesome.
And yeah,
I love that. And what do you have in the pipeline? What are you working on these days?
I have a few things on the stove. Mostly right now, I am spending a lot of time with nonprofits um, and helping them with capacity building. Um, so that is super rewarding, super fun. And also working with small business owners who are looking to get plans in place so that they can reach their outcomes.
I love that. I love that. And the outcome can go up to millions of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah.
That part.
Yes. Yep.
Love it,
For
love it,
sure.
love it. Well, we're almost at the end of our time here, and before we wrap up, I'd like to ask my guest: do you have any questions for me?
Ooh, questions for you. When did you feel the calling to coach?
Hmm. Um, I will say I was so it's no secret that I was in a narcissistic, toxic, abusive, all of the letter type things around relationships. In my marriage, we had a business, and I predominantly ran and operated the business. My ex was the face of the business, and during that marriage and coming out of it, I was disconnected from myself. And during the divorce, I decided to give him the business and all of the things. And as I went inward, because I wanted to figure out, like, how in the hell did I get here? Like, what's going on? And as I was in my war room praying, I was saying, Lord, I gave him the business, and I still feel like an entrepreneur. I can't seem to let that go. I still see this vision, right, around the business now I have been given this vision before we had even gotten married. However, I thought the vision was for me to help him bring it to life. So when we got
Mm,
married, I just out doing what the vision was, right? And I was like, Lord, um, I was helping him, blah, blah, blah. And I heard the Spirit say, if it had been for him, I would have given it to him. It was for you.
mm,
You could have knocked me over with a feather, like knocked me over. So now, mind you, I said I realized I had been coaching for over 30 years for free, right?
mm, mhm,
So I realized then, one, I can show up for everybody else, and I wasn't showing up for myself. And I was disconnected. I didn't know who I was as that person that I was, Selena, insert middle name, right? And so I took on my first life coach because I needed a me to help me.
mhm,
And when I did that and I saw what was taking place, pretty much like we talked about before, like we thought, it was called other things. I was like, life coaching. I said, this is a profession. I'm like, I've been doing this for free for over 30 years. It didn't fully dawn on me then that I was called to it yet, but it opened my eyes. And as
mhm,
I was going through the journey, I along the way of the healing, and as I was getting clearer and clearer, I realized, let me get two for one. While I'm here, I might as well just go ahead and get certified because she also offered a certification program. So I
mhm,
was like, let
mhm,
me get two for one. So when it got to the end of my certification, at last 6 months, I needed to take on my own client, and I wasn't ready. I was still tender. I wasn't at my healing journey. So I just kind of let it sit for a little bit. But along the way, as I got closer and closer and clearer to healing, it was becoming clearer. And I took I at the end of that program, I felt like I needed something else to help me never ever forget who I was again. So I
mm,
joined, and it was like so I think the universe is soil, right? And it gives us what we need. It provides. And so as I was getting to the end of that program, Queen Afua was having a rites of passage um, program. It was 12 weeks, and rites of passage just spoke to me. She wrote a book called Sacred Woman, and it was like the period on my healing journey for me. Another
mm,
community of like-minded women um, that to me felt like had been through very traumatic experiences, and it was talking about Kemetic lifestyle, African lifestyle living, and everything, and it just spoke to me. And it was on that journey that I would say that I realized that coaching was my calling. And so when I was in at the end of that ceremony, that's when Rachel Rogers came in the frame around the business, because I knew, I was like, well, if I'm going to do this, I also want some kind of business training and support, because I had been supporting everybody else and I had never felt like that I was supported, like I had the
Mhm.
support that I needed. So Making Money Moves Challenge came up. I joined that because I felt like I needed some momentum and everything. And then
Mhm.
everything after that just went so fast, and I was going to my ascension ceremony in LA for graduating from the Rites of Passage program, right? We call it Ascension. At the end of the Make Your Money Moves challenge, the offer was to join the club. We should all be millionaires. And it also came with an ROI ticket.
Mm.
So I did that. I was just taking these leaps. This Black woman was pushing me out of my comfort zone and into things, right? And the ROI was literally 3 days before I needed to be in LA for Ascension. I was like, what the
Mm.
hell? Let's do it. Right. So I go to ROI, right? I go to ROI, and I go to ROI with the intention. I don't know what it is. I've never been there before. I don't know what's going to happen. But I set the intention that if she offers a business certification, I'm all in. And you know what happened that first year?
Mhm.
She offered the
Mhm.
business. So when the time came, I raised my hand, and I said yes. And you remember when she said to us, "Were you at ROI when that happened? Is that when you joined?"
No.
Oh man! So she says to us, if we're interested, to stand up. We all stand up, and then she says, "Take a look at that chair, because that's the old you, honey, girl."
Mm.
It felt like electricity went through my body. And then she had
Mm.
us come up, and I just signed up. I was a little bit I wasn't too taken aback by the price tag, because I already knew what I invested with my life coach plus the certification for that. So I had a range. So as long as if it
Mhm.
was in that range, I said I'm doing it. And I had my
Mhm.
emergency fund money sitting there, and I just did it. I just did it. I did the payments. I could have paid in cash, but I was like, yeah, life be life, and you never know. So
Mhm.
I'm just going, walk it down, right? And did that. And along the journey, I would say, once we got to the end and we had to do the practicum, and I was really in the flow, and I had the tools, I had the framework, the methodology, all of the things. It was like I was at the highest vibration I could be. And I was getting the real time feedback from all of the clients and all of that. And there was a theme throughout it that I would hear from the clients. And I was starting to realize, oh, that's what I've been doing all these years. When I go in the bathroom and I come out, and people have shared their lives with me. I have a
Mm.
girlfriend that talks to me all the time. She's like, how do you go in the bathroom and come out with everybody's business? I'm like, all I said was hi. All I said. So what I realized, my secret sauce and my gift, my entire life. One, I have the gift of knowing. I didn't know
Mm.
it was a gift. I just naturally knew things about people, and sometimes always knew the right things to say, right?
Mhm.
What my gift is, that I have the ability to make people feel seen and heard,
Mm. That's
and
beautiful.
cared for. And so along that way, I realized coaching is my calling. But the vision that I had been given around the business is the vision for me to birth.
Mm.
Coaching is what I'm gifted at and would do for free. So it wasn't any one thing. It was all these things along the journey that helped me realize that. So I know that was a long answer, but I feel you have to, give people enough context to understand how you've
Mhm.
arrived, because all of the combination of those things and my life's journey and all of the communities that have sold into me are an active part of my coaching, and I need them all
Mhm.
based on
Mhm.
who I'm called to serve. So that's when I
Right.
know. Hopefully that answers. Whether any other
It does.
questions?
That's beautiful. I mean, what a gift.
Yeah,
What a
yeah,
gift.
yeah,
Because how many people go through so much of their lives feeling like they have not been seen nor heard?
yeah, yeah. And at first it used to kind of bother me because I felt like, what's wrong with me that I'm so interested in people, right? Right? Because sometimes that can go into because along that journey and healing, there was so much that came out, even though that marriage was very difficult for me, and I lost the most valuable thing, me, myself.
Mm,
I gained so much too. I learned that I was um, codependent, that I dealt with abandonment issues, that I was passive aggressive from being in those dynamics. Just so many things about myself that I had the opportunity to decide that I wanted to do something different about that. That I didn't want to be that person. That I didn't even realize that I was showing up like that. So it
mm,
covered so many things, and coaching helped with that.
mhm.
If it wasn't for the coach that could see me, right,
Right.
to help
Mhm.
me and walk me through unpacking that, I love that. I want to be able to do that for so many women out here, especially the women that I'm called to serve, because most of them believe that they need a man, one, to bring the visions to life that they've been called to birth,
Mm,
and two, because I believe because of patriarchal Western religion, right? So I never saw myself in, girl, you didn't got me on the soapbox. I probably need to, 'cause I can go all day with that. But yeah, I'll just stop there. But yeah, so that's what gets me going, because to me that feels a little bit like we were saying, people being mistreated,
mhm.
and I don't play that bullshit. Period.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I want to fight for those women that want to to claim their power and know their divine identity. So
Mm.
yeah, that part.
Beautiful.
Well, Tanitra, thank you so much for sharing yourself with us. Um, Come back anytime. I would love to have you. When anything changes, we're going to be here having these coaching conversations. I don't have a guest next week, so there may be someone that shows up. If not, it'll be me, and we'll be talking about all things coaching. And so bring your questions to the conversation. I'll be here still Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Tanitra, are there any final
Yes.
words that you would like to share?
No, I appreciate you for having me and for holding the space for this conversation. I think it's very important,
Yes.
and I'm inspired by your story and what you're called to do. I'm excited.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, send me those women if they cross your path. I
Okay.
um I thank you. Until next time. I'm
All
sure
right. Thank you.
I'll see you maybe Monday in the pod meeting.
Yes.
Take care, everyone.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
joining us.